welcome to Sagittarius season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. I'm Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer, embodiment educator, and the creator of Embodied Astrology. If you enjoy my readings, make sure to pre-order your 2025 Year Ahead Expanded Horoscope now. The Embodied Astrology yearly forecasts for each sign go in-depth with the most important transits, offering embodied suggestions for making the most of the opportunities and working skillfully with the challenges. A special treat for the 2025 readings will be sign-specific meditations that accompany your forecasts. You'll be able to use them throughout the year to increase and deepen your alignment with the upcoming year's transformative influences. You might also be interested in your 2024 annual reading, which still has lots of important information for the near and far future and prompts to reflect on the past. The 2024 readings are now discounted by 75%, and you can pre-order your 2025 readings or access this year's reading by clicking the link below. Embodied Astrology is much more than horoscopes and podcasts. It is actually a movement that is full of people who are interested in the ways that astrology can help us more deeply embody our earthly and universal intelligence. We offer ongoing classes, workshops, trainings, and community process spaces where we practice astrology as a language for living. We blend astrology with art, science, healing methodologies, and activist strategies. We hold space for ourselves and each other to expand and explore symbolism, mythology, and meaning. We queer, unpack, and evolve this ancient technology in service of our present needs and future potentials. If this sounds like something you've been looking for, or if my readings resonate for you and you want to take them to the next level, I hope you'll join us sometime. Stick around after your horoscope, and I'm going to tell you more about some of what we offer, how we work, and why I think embodied astrology is a great space for you too. If this work benefits you and you want to help me keep giving these monthly readings for free and help us keep all of our offerings available with financial accessibility and sliding scale, please take a moment right now to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels. This is the #1 way you can help us grow. This season's horoscopes are intuitive offerings for each sign of the zodiac. I hope that they serve and support you in some way. Listen for your sun, moon, and rising signs, and remember that not everything is for everyone, so take what works, leave the rest, and make the meaning that's most meaningful for you. Thank you so much for being here, and now, onto your horoscopes. Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Sagittarius season. I'm really glad you're here. As I'm tuning in with your chart, I am feeling an immensity of emotion and really profound depth in your charts right now. I feel that a lot of you are traversing the underworld in some kind of way. And that can mean so many things. It can mean that you are in a very deep psychic, psychological, and energetic experience and confronting your own underworld, your fears, your phobias, your inner demons, a sense of unknown, a sense of defeat. It can mean that you are walking with others through their underworld journey. There may be relational experiences that you're having, as we all will have if we haven't already, where we are in some way accompanying another person through a really profound experience of loss and potentially mortality. There's also a lot of underworld in the world right now. There is a lot of rising kind of shadow material, the unprocessed death and destruction and sorrow and the unexpressed grief that is causing a huge cultural reckoning. And I think that a lot of you are feeling that potentially in very personal and very embodied ways. And I think that Sagittarius season into Capricorn season is a period of time, a stretch of time that is going to take you on a descent journey. And these kinds of journeys are not meant to be easy. They are not meant to be buoyant and optimistic and full of possibility. They are meant to bring you into the darkness. In the mythology that astrology comes from, the primordial place of becoming is chaos, and chaos gives birth first to night. And from night, all phenomena arises. And in our lives, in our human lives, where we live in the material form, where many of us navigate with sunlight and daylight, and we are very attached to our life experiences, the presence of the underworld, proximity with death, being overtaken by the unknown, going through periods of darkness can be so disorienting and upsetting. But if we are able to move through those times with some degree of ritual and ceremony and recognition that these times are actually immensely valuable, that they have so much to give us, and part of what they have to give us is what they take away. They make space for what needs to come in. You know, when you have a really big cry, a lot of times afterwards, in that feeling of emptiness after the crying, is when some relief comes in, and the capacity to see a bigger picture, or like have some kind of understanding of what's happening, can come in. So first and foremost, I just want to say that if you resonate with what I've been talking about, that my heart is with you, that this is an incredibly challenging time. And I feel the tears right behind my eyes as I'm saying this. There's so much loss, and I don't even know what words can really be enough to express the comfort that I wish that I could give. And I also want to say that the first 2 weeks or so of Sagittarius season, from the 21st of November until the 5th of December, it does not look like an easy time. It looks potentially like a period of time for a lot of people where a whole host of things is just coming up, and all of the horrors and all of the tragedies and all of the ideation and all of the hard thoughts, it's like things are coming up, but they need to. They need to surface. And if you can be with this time again as a ceremony and as a ritual, then this emergence will actually serve some kind of benefit. So please pay attention to what feels painful. Pay attention to what feels scary. Pay attention to where you are being called to the abyss. Try and give yourself opportunities to experience darkness and nothingness in ways that are actually kind of a surrender and a relaxation. So I want to mention again the series with Sherry Taylor that goes through Sagittarius season, ending on the solstice. This is a series that is actually totally for this time and for these kinds of experiences. I want to ask you to have faith and ask you to trust that there is a wisdom of this experience. There is something larger at work, but a lot needs to give way right now, and the ground is really unstable. And universal life energy and earth energy works on timelines and works with systems of its own intelligence that are beyond what ours are. And human beings live in the phenomenal world, and like the Buddhists say, life is suffering. And part of what we show up for when we have a corporeal experience is loss, and the inevitability of the loss of our own lives and the loss of life of everybody and everything that we love. But the inevitability of loss is also the opportunity to be present and to really be with what is. And what is right now is also potently beautiful. And when you can focus on the beauty of temporariness, and that doesn't have to look like a full blooming rose, right? That can be the beauty of a moment of connection around grief that you might have with another person or multiple people. Inside of suffering, there is also beauty. Inside of loss, there is also a lot to receive and to be gained. And this is a period of time where I'm going to say you want to be cautious of bold enthusiasm and silver linings and a kind of like gassed up certainty that you might be reaching for, that others around you might be feeling very genuinely. That's not always what is needed. And no judgment to anyone else right now. But I'm going to say that for you particularly, you want to be really careful of where your ego might be coming in and trying to force something forward that isn't ready. So if you find yourself like reaching for the bright side of things, notice what's behind the reaching. There is so much benefit in feeling lost. And if you can be in that experience and be with it in ways that give yourself, again, ceremony, ritual, validation, attention, honoring, if you can look at and be with what is unstable or what is unknown, that is turning the soil. That is a composting process. That actually is going to fertilize some kind of new growth. And the feelings of loss or uncertainty or churning that are happening for you right now are not feelings to turn away from. They are feelings to deepen in because they have a circuitous underground route. They're going to take you through a portal and through a tunnel. And it's hard to trust that sometimes because we're not beings who are really comfortable navigating underground. But I really feel that the energies that are calling you right now are calling you to blossom and grow in the future in new ways that you cannot see from this vantage. Now, your energy does start to shift as we get into the second half of Sagittarius season. So from December 5th until the solstice, there is a growing kind of mounting energy that is starting to come in. Now, the feeling that I have in this time is not certainty. Okay, so as I'm talking about a growing, mounting energy coming in, it's not a clear direction forward. It feels like more vitality is given to you when you let things go. So this is a period of time that is excellent for experimentation and adaptation. If forms are falling away, and that could include, forms of anything that you've been certain of, forms of relationship, forms of ambitions, forms of goals, forms of ideas that you had about how the world is or who other people are, things like that. If forms are falling away, then this is a great time to not grasp, but get curious about why they need to go. What is no longer helpful about them? And you have a lot of support right now when you connect with other people and with community spaces that are invested and interested in doing this kind of thing also. So look for the grief rituals, look for the radical change makers, look for people who do underworld kinds of practices like tarot readers and mediums and psychopomps and death doulas and grief workers. Look for the community spaces that are giving space for people to be with the trouble. For the time being, and I'll say before I go into what I was going to say, I will say that when you embody those kinds of values, when you speak about that out loud, when you host your own spaces or things like that, you are also supported in that. So that is a place to turn your attention to. Now, throughout Sagittarius season, it feels like there's two chapters. So there's the first chapter that definitely has more of a contraction kind of energy to it. And this is the chapter around the new moon. So we have a new moon on November 30th. This is a new moon that is calling you to the ritual space. It is calling you to the altar. It is calling you to ceremonial space. Now, one important thing that many people do in ceremony and in ritual is make an offering. And if you can honor this new moon by making an offering, I think that this new moon has a lot to give you. So what is calling you into the depths most deeply right now? Is it a particular relationship? Is it an ancestral sensation? Is it something that's happening globally, politically, and in the world? Is it your relationship with the earth? Where do you feel the most grief? Where do you feel the most sense of unknown and incapacity to control anything? Where are things in the most turmoil? Create an opportunity for yourself to make an offering to that. If it's a relationship, put a picture of the person on your altar. If it's the earth, go outside. Be with land. If it's the world, maybe make a collage, do some journaling. Find a way to represent the depth and the underworld that you are navigating. And then really tune in with your spirit, with your heart, with your body, with your mind, and ask into your own beingness, what needs to be let go inside of me so that I may be of best service to whatever this is? What do I need to let go of in order to navigate this particular underworld? Take what works, leave the rest. Make the meaning that's meaningful for you. Take some idea of ritual into your new moon and really meditate on what can you offer to the underworld journey that you are on. And then as we move towards the full moon on December 15th and the second half of Sagittarius season, that starts to feel a lot more expansive, a lot more energetic. It isn't clear yet. You're not actually emerging from the underworld. You're just getting more comfortable down there. So the first half of the season, you're like, it's so dark. I don't know what's going to happen. But you get pulled in anyway. Maybe you were already in because Scorpio season was before Sag season. But then in the second half of Sagittarius season, you're down there and you're like, actually, wow, the earth is warm. And there's all these roots and like all these microbes and all this life that's happening. And like, wow, I found coyote tunnels and rabbit tunnels and I'm like being guided by the underworld beings. It's like something is shifting in your experience and you're more comfortable in the liminality of it. And so the full moon on December 15th is a full moon that wants you to empower yourself in this place. And this is where I'm really seeing opportunities for you to be a leader of an underworld kind of journey. If you have any instinct at all to host a little gathering around the full moon, this could be a gathering where you write goodbye letters together. It could be a gathering that is a grief circle. It could be a gathering to be with the trouble. Take initiative to build energy and connection around loss. That is actually one of the ways that we heal and evolve. So much dysfunction on the planet Earth right now is because there has not been ample time and space and support for people to mourn their dead and to actually metabolize experiences of trauma. So we might feel like, oh, that's a bummer. I don't want to turn towards it. But when we make space for those kinds of experiences, There is actually such profound love and joy and connection and healing that is possible. So seek out those spaces or create them yourself. And I promise you, some new ideas, new pathways, new openings will show themselves to you. And you might be really surprised by what they are. But these are the pathways that you can trust. They're not the ones that come from your mind analyzing and strategizing and trying to figure out what's next. They're the ones that open naturally once you have released what obscured you seeing them in the first place. All right, my friends, my Taurus friends, I love you. You've got this. I am wishing you all the best in Sagittarius season and beyond. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to your Sagittarius season reading. If this horoscope resonated for you, please show your support by liking, following, and subscribing, and by sharing this work with your friends and community. I also hope you'll consider working more deeply with us at Embodied Astrology. Because we time our classes, workshops, and events with current transits, we're always offering to the present moment, and we're usually right on time. Every month and throughout the seasons, we engage the creative, experimental, and experiential aspects of current astrology. And our work is always given with an ethos of generosity and accessibility. Our classes, workshops, and series are available with scholarship and sliding scale, and no one is turned away for lack of funds. We do rely on your support and presence to keep us going, though. So help us sustain and support our work by making a one-time or recurring donation, becoming a member, or signing up for one of our offerings. Our offerings this season are exciting, and I hope that you'll join me for some of them. Every Monday, I offer a class called Somatic Space, where we prepare ourselves to work with the astrology of the week ahead through gentle healing body practices, breathwork, meditation, and visualization. You can drop in once to try it out, or if you become a member, you'll also get access to the past class video archive and Tea Time, a monthly conversational space where we learn and share how astrology is moving through our lives and make great friends and build community in the process. Over the course of Sagittarius season, we're also offering a number of unique workshops that are times to help us meet this moment of change and transformation that Sagittarius season is bringing. On Sunday, December 1st, Embodied Astrology is honored to offer a new moon somatic grief ritual and ceremony of connection with ancestors, elements, and the earth, facilitated by Ekua Adisa. Ekua is a grief guide, death care worker, medicine person, medium, world shaper, and ritualist who will be joining our facilitator, Sherry Taylor, in her Embodied Astrology series exploring the femme and queer faces of Saturn, Salve Equacula. Sherry will be joined again on the solstice, December 21st, for a year's end writing ritual co-led with Janata Petrus. This is an opportunity to reflect with the astrology and the personal and collective lessons of 2024 before we transition into a new calendar year. In between these two sessions with Sherry, you can also join Janata for December 15th's Full Moon Artistic Alchemy session, where you'll learn more about the Sagittarius-Gemini axis in your chart and practice tapping into this energetic polarity through prompts and personal reflections that guide support for living and expressing your courageous creativity throughout the seasons. Finally, on December 7th, the day that Neptune stations direct from its 6-month retrograde, please join us for the final session in the Nebula Lab series hosted by Gabs 404. Over the past 6 months, the Nebula Lab has been a place where we've been learning about Neptune's current transit in the last degrees of the zodiac through art, culture, media, embodiment, history, and technology. In this culminating session, Gabs is joined by Danny D'Amelia. Danny is an artist and educator working at the intersections of performance, visual art, radical pedagogy, and social, relational, ecological justice. Danny will guide us in an exploration of radical intimacy, unnumbing, and expanding our awareness of interrelatedness beyond the human realms. These are, of course, some of the qualities and conditions which we'll most need in the year ahead and the years to come, so I truly hope that you can join us. You can find more information about everything and everyone I just mentioned in the show notes or through the study section at embodiedastrology.com. If you can't make our live events, but you still want to participate, your registration always includes recording access. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening and engaging. I truly hope to see you in an Embodied Astrology space soon. Bye for now.